Hi everyone, today we are going to be looking at how to hack and alter our gorgeous Minerva Exclusive Amber Culottes sewing pattern. I'm Izzy at Minerva and I'm going to be talking you step by step how to adjust the pattern and then also how to sew any of the steps which are different from the original pattern piece. So we're going to be looking at how to alter our Amber Culottes, which is the pattern you can see here, and we're going to change it to make a little pair of summer shorts with a lovely little drawstring detail. So we're going to be shortening the pattern piece, but we're still going to keep that lovely volume and lovely sort of flare around the shorts at the top around the leg, and then the drawstring is actually very simply going to replace the elastic, so we don't need to have any elastic in the waist. Now you may find that you want to put elastic in as well as the drawstring, and the drawstring is just a nice little added feature, and that's completely up to you as well. As you follow along today, you're going to need your standard pattern tools, and those are listed next to me. Obviously you're going to need your own copy of the Amber Culottes sewing pattern, which is available on our Minerva website. Now on our Minerva YouTube channel we have 3 videos which are going to support you with the Amber Culottes a little bit further if you want additional support. The first one we have is a fabric focus video that looks at suitable fabrics for the pattern, so do take a look at that if you're not sure. The next one we have is a sew along which shows you step by step how to actually sew the pattern. Obviously in today's video I'll be talking you through the different steps of how to alter the sewing process, but if you want further support refer to that video and that is specific sew along. And then the final video we have is a fit video which I've filmed, which looks at how to adjust the fit to fit your body shape beautifully. So do take a look at those on our playlist on the YouTube channel. The fabric I'm going to use today is our gorgeous Minerva Exclusive Falling Blossoms Viscose Jersey Stretch Knit. Now it does have a really big amount of stretch in it, so it has got 80% like width-wise like this and 60% stretch lengthways, so it has got like a good amount of stretch in it. It's a lovely lightweight sort of fabric which is going to be perfect for these summer shorts that I'm planning on making. Now I've also got along with that some nice reasonably thick drawstring actually, because I wanted it to kind of be substantial enough. Just picked a nice black to pick up on the black of the fabric. So those are the extra little bits that we're going to use today. So in front of me here I've got my Amber Culottes. I've cut out my basic size that I want to create these shorts in, and obviously you start off by cutting out your basic size that you need for your body shape. That's always the starting point. I'm going to use a fat marker pen to make changes on the pattern piece. If you're at home, please do use a nice sharp pencil. I'm just using this so you can see it on the screen clearly above, but accuracy is really important when we're altering patterns, so do use a nice sharp pencil to get a nice neat finish to your pattern drafting. What we'll notice, and we'll work on the back first, what we'll notice is that the hem has got a little bit of a curve, hasn't it, down here? So what we want to do is to crop it from there up by an equal amount all the way along. What we don't want to do is just draw a straight line across, because that's going to give us a bit of a wonky hem effectively when we actually wear the garment. So let's start off by reducing the amount that we want to reduce from the hem. Don't forget that, as it helpfully says here, we've got a 2.5 centimetre hem allowance. So what we need to do is decide how low we want the hem to be on us, and then just make sure we also allow for the hem as we cut the pattern piece. Okay, so starting on the inner crotch seam over here, I'm just going to mark a point that is 15 centimetres below the crotch line at that point. That's just a temporary little mark there. And that's really where I want the bottom of my hem to be. So I'm now going to add 2.5 centimetres to that. So mark a point 2.5 centimetres below that. Now what I'd recommend you do now is that you measure the distance from that lower point down to your hem. For me it's 26.5 centimetres. I'm now just going to continue to mark 26.5 centimetres all the way around the pattern piece, and then I will just draw a nice soft curve joining all those little markers together. Then just remove that volume by cutting it away. Okay, now we've got a choice what to do with our drawstring. For me, I just want to keep this hack as simple as possible, so I'm going to leave my waistband exactly as it is, and when we come to sew it, we might just narrow the channel a little bit to more closely fit and align with our drawstring. So that's all you need to do to pattern piece B. Let's now move on to the front pattern piece. Okay, so with the front, we're going to start off by doing exactly the same as we did previously. Grab my ruler and I'm just going to mark some regular intervals that are 26.5 centimetres above the existing hemline. And this just matches in with the changes we did to the back. Once you've marked them out, just draw a nice neat line and a lovely curve between them all. And then just cut away the excess paper that you don't need. And now, as a quick check, you can grab your back pattern piece and just make sure that your side seams are exactly the same. Line up the notch there with the bottom of the hem down there. I just tidied that up a tad. And of course, the same on this side. They're looking great. So you now know that the front and the back are going to match up together when you sew them. You're not going to have like a kind of discrepancy in the hem, which is perfect. What we now need to do is to annotate the pattern piece for where the drawstring opening is going to be. So this is our front pattern piece, and this is the front crotch, which is the centre of the front of our trousers, so the middle of the front of the tummy. So at this point here, we can see we're going to fold this section under, and our drawstring is going to sort of sit around here. Now, my drawstring that I've picked is about 1 centimetre wide, effectively. So what I want to do is to create a buttonhole quite close to the front, or an eyelet location quite close to the front, and I want it to be the width of this drawstring. I want it to be slightly offset from the fold up here, so I've got space to kind of feed my drawstring in. So if my drawstring is 1 centimetre, I'm just going to mark as a little reference a point that is 2 centimetres below the folded waistline here, and just sort of dash that out, just square that off a little bit out here. Now, don't forget that we've got a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, so just dash that out just so you remember exactly where it is. That's your 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, and so then we are then going to just mark a point that is 2 centimetres offset from your seam allowance, so just dash it out down there. Find the centre of that line. Okay, and basically what we're saying here is, at this point here, that's where we want the opening for our drawstring to kind of pull out of at the centre front. We'll have one on one side and one on the other, so then the drawstring's going to come through and then tie beautifully in the middle. There'll be a 3 centimetre gap between the opening of one drawstring and the other opening of the holes for the drawstring, which feels quite comfortable. You may want more of a dramatic distance, create more of a feature, but that feels quite comfortable to us. So what you can do now at that point is decide, are you going to do it with a buttonhole, or are you going to insert a round metal eyelet, which is another way that you can sort of elevate your pattern piece. So as long as you've got the marking there, if you're going to do an eyelet, just do like a little cross like I've done here. And if you want a buttonhole, you want it to be the width of your drawstring, which for me is 1 centimetre. So you can just mark it on like that. Excellent. Now those changes are pretty straightforward, but it's going to have such a dramatic impact in terms of how these gorgeous amber culottes look. So let's go and take a look at how to sew that together. Now, as we're going to sew the pattern together, all I'm going to demonstrate in this video is any alterations or deviations from the original instructions. A lot of it for this hack will be exactly the same, but when we come to the drawstring, that's going to be the difference in terms of how we construct that. So let's go and do that now. We're basically just going to follow the instructions until we get to the bit where we put the elastic in. So I'm just going to sew up to step 3, and then I will demo the following steps in this video. If you need further support with the sewing instructions in the booklet, don't forget that you can refer back to the sew along, which is available to watch on our YouTube, and the sew along shows you all the standard steps as per the instruction booklet. So I have transferred the line markings for the buttonhole onto the pattern piece, and I'm just going to take a little piece of interfacing and iron it over the buttonhole location, simply to secure that area when we actually sew the buttonhole. Once you've done that and iron the interfacing onto the back of the garment, onto the wrong side of the garment, we're then just going to create our buttonholes using our sewing machine. So just use whatever method you prefer to create your buttonholes. Okay, so just like that, and on the wrong side you can see that the buttonholes have interfacing completely surrounding them, which is just perfect. Next, we want to actually create the opening to the buttonhole. So I'm just going to pop a pin into one end of the buttonhole, and then I'm going to use my seam ripper or unpicker to just create and cut that hole up to the pin. And the pin just simply ensures that we don't accidentally rip more fabric than we intended to. Perfect, and now we have 2 little buttonhole openings. For the next step, I'm going to follow step 4, and I'm going to do option 1. So to start off with, I'm just going to turn it over by 1.5 centimeters, press it, and then turn it over by 3.5 centimeters, because I'm cutting out the women's size for this one. And then just press it like that. Okay, and once you've pinned the entire waistline all the way around, then what we're going to do is top stitch the waist casing as per step 5. But we're not going to leave the 5 centimeter opening, we're just going to sew all the way around. Next, take your drawstring and pop a safety pin on one end and then thread it all the way through the casing of the waistband. And as you get through to the other end, just pull it out through that gap, and there we have it. The drawstring is completely done. Now we do not want the drawstring to go back inside the casing accidentally, so just tie a knot at the end of each of the strands of the drawstring. And the next step we're going to do is step 12, exactly as per the instruction booklet. And then let's go and take a look and see what this looks like. So there we have it, a gorgeous little pair of shorts looking super cute. Obviously you could incorporate the hacks that we've shown you previously with some side pockets or integrated pockets there. You could do a sheared waistband, all sorts of things you can do, but that is looking cute. So I hope you found that really enjoyable today and you've really had fun following along today, and that's inspired you for your summer wardrobe or your holiday wardrobe. These are just so comfy, they'll be absolutely perfect for just pulling on over a bikini or swimsuit, so that as you walk down to the beach then you can just slip them on and off nice and easy. As ever, we have further pattern hacks on our YouTube channel all about the Amber Culottes, so do take a look at those and get inspired. So thank you for joining me today. I've been Izzy at Minerva, and I'll see you next time.